Welcome to the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show. Conversations with elite business leaders from around the world. And now, here is your host, T. Allen Haynes.
Welcome back to the show. We've got a great guest for you today. We've got Drew Hennen, and Drew Hennen is in the business of helping veterans, and he's created a website called VetsList.com, which highlights veteran business owners so people can easily find them and their services. So, Drew, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Tracy. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, let's just get right into it. Tell us about your business and exactly who you're helping.
Yeah, thank you very much on that. My brothers and I had started an organization called VetsList.com, sprung from a conversation I actually had from my father years ago. Because we were raised, my dad's a Vietnam vet, was wounded in 1968, and we were raised very patriotic. You know, we were surrounded by veterans growing up, and Dad was a part of the Legion, and I mean, you name it. We went to the parades and everything else. And would show up for funerals because my dad was part of the honor guard also. So for anybody who had served, they would, have a military funeral available to them. So we were always surrounded by that. And I was talking to my dad probably a good decade ago about how we could help the veteran community. And, I'm a businessman. I've been self-employed since forever, and so are my brothers. And one of the other things we were raised with was my dad would go out of his way to work with veterans. So if my dad needed, just going to use tires as an example, he would go 2 towns over to work with somebody he knew was a veteran who sold tires. And so we were raised in that atmosphere of working with the veteran community. And as the internet took off and things like that, we were trying to figure out how can we put something together to serve the veteran community? How can we get the word out? And love the veteran community. My only complaint with the veteran community is they're very secretive. Like they don't want anybody shining a light on them. You guys kind of hide, behind things. And I would get, I didn't serve for that purpose and totally understand that. And yet there's so many people that respect what the veteran has done, the service they've provided for this great country. And we like to get that, word out. Where are our veterans who own businesses, or maybe they're in real estate, right? And or insurance sales, and may not own the business because we highlight the veteran and not the business anyways. Let's shine a spotlight on them. In fact, I just had a conversation with a wife of a veteran. He's a Marine, Michael, and his wife. I figured I'd have a better conversation with her because she'd be able to focus a little bit better on this. But as soon as I got into what we're up to, and I explained what our thought process was, she goes, "Oh yeah, we love to work with veterans, right?" And that's the other side of the thing is veterans would love to work with veterans. You guys are, it's like a brother and sisterhood. Mm-hmm. So how can we connect them? And as I was talking with her, she goes, "You know what? We really want to work with veterans because people take advantage of them. We would never do that, and we want to help the veteran community." So it's kind of coming from all that being brought up with that attitude. How can we work with veterans? How can we connect veterans? And then knowing veterans would love to serve and work in their own community also. And instead of you guys hiding all the time, what can we do to shine a light on that? And that's where VetsList came from. Don't do it for yourself, Tracy. Do it for your veteran who's looking to get ahead, who's looking to get a home loan. You're going to help them, right? Or they're looking for a great real estate agent. And you're a great real estate agent, and you're going to do them solid because you respect and you guys have that special bond that most people will never have. So it's really that's the attitude we want to come with the whole thing with.
Well, that's very honorable and, a great thing to focus on veteran military business owners because, they spent their entire career in the military, and when they segue into business, it's a great fit. And some of them, they get lost in the shuffle. So very honorable thing. So you touched a little bit on the backstory, but take us a little bit deeper. And what is it exactly that you're doing to help these business owners? And how did you just wake up one day and you were going to do this? But what led you to this?
I wish it was that simple. In fact, I feel really bad because we kept putting it off and putting it off because, the fact of the matter, there's really never a good time to start something new. And I've had a very successful career in marketing. And, I've been able to, in fact, I've lived a really blessed life. And at 29 years old, I made a really good decision that set my wife and I up pretty much financially. And so I've been able to volunteer, and we have 6 children. I've been able to help my wife homeschool when we were doing that actively, being really involved. And so we kept putting it off and didn't pull the trigger until technically really our grand opening, if we can call that because it's online, was September 9th. So after thinking about it and even getting the website done, we sat on our website ready to operate for a couple of years. So the realization was there's never a good time, right? And so let's just stop dragging our feet and make this happen. And I'm one of those guys, once you push a button, once it's go time, I jump in. I'm active. I'm all in. And so just in the last 5.5 weeks that we've been operating here, we've been having about three members a day, which is very exciting. And we're just kind of organically getting the word out. As we turned the website on, we had a couple there's a coding errors. We didn't want a big explosion in growth because, we didn't want to crash or have something bad, and system not work and have a bad experience for our veterans. So now that we've got our kind of our feet wet, we're starting to become much more active in getting the word out to our community here. So yeah, I'm actually on the backside wishing I would have just pulled the trigger earlier and launched it and got going because we're excited about what this has. And it's not just the exposure. There's so many veterans that here's what's great about the veteran community. If I'm having lunch with a veteran and we're going to get together at 1:30, guess who's going to show up at 1:30? You know what I mean? I mean, this world is full of flaky people, and I was raised, if you're not early, you're late. And I think that should kind of be the general attitude of people. But, the military people, they're right on, but there's certain skills maybe they don't have. And that's that entrepreneurship. So they know they want to own their own business, right? And so our next step is we're going to be having training videos, how do you successfully run your business? I mean, how do you do your accounting successfully? What are the ins and outs of having a small, medium, and a large business? Because my brothers and I have covered the gamut on this. And so it started with, let's get the exposure, but how about we add some training in there? And you know what? There's a lot of better nonprofits. How about we start highlighting those and putting those on our site? So now we're getting the word out that we want to be that kind of that warehouse for all things veteran related. If it's a service organization or a nonprofit or obviously the veteran business. And our platform is huge, so we can handle that kind of volume. And so we're good to go. We just got to get the word out.
You're providing a portal for veteran business owners so people can find them easily. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, sir. I mean, our long-term vision here is you put in the zip code, veteran, and it's going to drop veterans near you. It's going to start with the closest ones to you and go up from there. Or let's say you're looking for a realtor, and it's going to propagate the realtors near your location, or you're looking at getting your maintenance done, yard maintenance done. There's a guy up in Prosper, Texas here, a veteran. He sells golf carts. So you're looking for a golf cart. You put in the keyword search, and you're going to be able to find a veteran who is making and selling golf carts. So that's the platform we have is based on geographic location and maybe what they do for a living. Kind of those keyword searches also.
Perfect. That's awesome. So along the way, do you remember? Was there a book that has inspired you along the way?
Man, I'm a huge reader. In fact, I'm sitting and looking at some of my books right now. I'm a big Zig Ziglar guy. My dad turned me on to Zig and Jim Rohn and some of those great authors back when I was 19 years old. I was a very shy kid growing up, had a very low self-esteem. And so my dad, to counteract some of that, and it was all, I have a learning disability, so that never came easy for me. So I struggled in school. My brother John was always bigger than I am, and so I wasn't athletic, and going out of high school, I wasn't in the best place. My dad turned me on to this. So, my first book I ever read was Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, stop.
Classic.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Just a classic, right? And I read it recently again, and I mean, kind of like it feels like it's written in Old English, but
right.
It just got the nuggets in it that gets you through life. And for me, that was a crucial part for me because it really got me to the point that I could be anything that I want to be. And we were raised with this advice. We're not the go to school family. My dad made it very clear: if you go to college, you need to become a brain surgeon. I mean, you have to specialize and really focus. You know what I mean? Otherwise, he goes, if you get a business degree, you're one of the masses, you know, and that's fine if you want to be one of the masses. Or you become an engineer, then you can expect to do this with your life, and then every 3 years you get 7% promotions, and you know. And he said, or work hard and own your own business. So we were raised always with the attitude of working hard. We're farm kids from Minnesota, raised working on the farms, and we understood the value of hard work. And so, you know, that's easy to apply. And then starting your own business, there's always those pitfalls. So we've been through those. I'm 47 years old. I started my first business technically when I was 15 years old in landscaping. And so, you know, that kind of a long history of being self-employed. And so I know what that brings. And that's kind of like we said, that's our next step is what can we bring to the marketplace for the veterans that are maybe struggling, or help them find financing, or, you know, there's so many things that can make a difference. And we just want to be that for the veteran community.
Very cool. I've interviewed hundreds of entrepreneurs, and 96% of them say that Think and Grow Rich was the book. So there's a fiber optic there. If nobody's picked up on that, that's the
very good.
Very, very good piece there. So, you know, I've talked to you before, and I feel your passion. But what is it that really drives you to do what you do, to help you get up out of bed every morning? What is that motivates you to help people?
The simple answer is I've got 6 kids, right? So that, you know, I look at our food budget and think, oh my God, how can people eat so much food? But that's not the truth. That's not the truth. You know,
bless your heart.
Yes, and here's what it comes down to me today. There's success, and I believe I've had success in my lifetime. It's significance. It's leaving a legacy. You know, I love my grandparents, but my kids don't know who my grandparents were because they didn't leave a mark in the world. You know, they were quiet farmers, and you know, and that's okay, and that's how most people go through. But I don't know. It's you know, my goals keep changing as I get older, and you know, I always wanted to be this amazing grandpa, because I did have an amazing grandpa on my mom's side. He was very active and took us fishing and stuff like that. So I've always wanted to be that amazing grandpa, but now I want to be that amazing great grandpa. And that comes by obviously having a healthy life, living a lifestyle that's healthy enough to be conducive to that. It's being financially able to do that. It's kind of the whole gamut. And I want to make a difference. And now as I'm getting even a little bit older, I want to make a difference in the world. You know, start something that's a legacy, something that people can point to. So I was with some friends on a business conference in Tucson this last week, and she goes, "Man, you're really motivated about this." And I said, you know, you know what I really want? I want a Wikipedia page, you know, where people go and you know, founder, VetsList.com, you know, made a difference in the world, changed lives. That's a huge motivator for me today.
Nice. You said you started your first business at 15, but do you remember a point in your life before that where you had an aha moment and you knew that you were destined to do something like this? Or
maybe this, not specifically, because I haven't embraced technology. Now I'm like super embracing it. I think I knew I thought differently when I was in college, and I started in junior college, and then I didn't even finish college. And I remember at 15 starting a landscape company. I bought a house at 19. My fiance moved in. I'm going to junior college, so I'm living at home with mom and dad. And it was like my second year. I was going specifically because I was owning a business, how to run a business, how to be successful. You know, a business at least minor, thinking it would lead to something, you know, a major, right? Mm-hmm. And I got so frustrated because every business professor I had, or economic professor I had, this is how I used to own a business, but it failed. I used to, and it failed. Not a single one of my business professors owned a successful business. And I remember coming home very frustrated saying, "Dad, I'm paying these people to explain how to run a successful business, and they never did." And my dad looks at me, and it stuck with me forever. He goes, "Those who can do and those who can't teach." And I went, because at that point in my life, I already had a successful business. I was already making a profit, and you know, and And I thought, okay, that's a profound moment in my life. And then I remember from then on, I just didn't go back to school because what I was going to school for, I was already successful at. So isn't real world experience better than a degree anyways? And a degree I was really never going to use.
Yep. Well, that's you're in what I call the 1%ers that realize that early on, but people live their entire life and not get that message. So that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us. So these veterans, people do business every day. I mean, they seek out different solutions to problems. So what are you finding to be the most common obstacle for these veteran business owners, to attract the business to them or to get recognized at the business that they're in? What's the common obstacle?
I think that for me, what I'm seeing is a common obstacle is not understanding exposure is king. People have to be able to find you. And if they can't find you, they can't possibly do business with you. And so, exposure, whatever that is, I don't care if it's print media, which is less relevant today, but it still has relevancy, right? Certainly online. And this online thing, it's not like it's going away. We got the old timers thinking they're hoping it's going to not be around, but it's not going to happen. Social media, we have to learn how to embrace that. How can we build up our profile? This is like, if you understand social media, right, it's free advertising. So instead of running from it, let's embrace it and figure it out. So it's that exposure that so many of them are like running away from that they need to be embracing and running to. And so that's once again the VetsList platform is for that we can give exposure, we can let other veterans know where you're at, and that's what we've been talking about mostly here. But the bigger group of people that want to work with veterans are patriots. So, my dad served in the military. My brother Tom served. I have a nephew who's in the Army right now. But I'm a patriot. I mean, I was raised red, white, and blue. And you know who I want to do business with? I want to do business with the veterans because overall it's a great, honest, hardworking group, right? So where are they? And that's the conversation. And if I have this conversation with a veteran, then it's like a light bulb goes on. And I get this a lot. Why has nobody done this? Or why is this not happening? Or what? And I'm like, I'm not quite sure why it hasn't. But we're going to fix that. We're going to take care of that. And I know what we're doing is a truth. My neighbor, Steve, he's a surgeon. And he asked me this summer as we were getting ready to launch and turn the site on. He goes, what have you been up to? You've been really busy. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. We live in Prosper, Texas here. And I said, if you needed tires on your car and there were 2 tire shops in town and you knew one was owned by a veteran, would you consider crossing the street and purchasing tires from a veteran? And without missing a beat, he said exactly what I hear from veterans all the time. I drive 20 miles. Right? I would do what I could, right? And that's a commonality. So that's the veteran. But guess what? I'm a patriot who would drive 20 miles, right? So instead of hiding, let's get that exposure out there and create a national platform that is great looking. We have a fantastic website. It's a professional, great looking website. And we just now it's just a matter of getting the word out. And that's what we're working hard to do moving forward. Now that we got our feet wet, we're in that next stage of let's get this thing, blowing up.
Exactly. Business owners have a challenge on finding their target market. I mean, you can put a lot of people in under the veteran umbrella. I mean, if you're serving in the military, you're a veteran. If you're in your business, you can put all those under an umbrella. Now you can put the surgeon, the optometrist, the tire changer, the tire guy all in there. And you've got a centralized location that people can find them. So describe to me how somebody has benefited from this.
Yeah, we've got right now, I just sent in my neighbor who needs a roof, right? And since we're 5.5 weeks into this thing, so unfortunately we have a lot of success stories. But my neighbor, Richard, hasn't taken care of his roof, and without missing a beat, this weekend he goes, he said something like, I think I really need, we had tennis ball size hail up here. And so he goes, I need to get my roof done without missing a beat. I said, have you gotten to VetsList.com? Now he knows I launched it, right? And he goes, no. So he pulls out his phone, he starts looking, he goes, oh, you got 2 roofers on here. I said, yep. Okay, I'll reach out and call one of those. right? And so now that was easy exposure because he's right there. So that's going to be probably our first big success story. And yet we have a couple small ones already. More, hey, I've made a connection. We have a couple nonprofits that have had people come to them because of the exposure on VetsList, and like I've got your 6 is one of those. So we're seeing it start already. I'm excited that there's going to be hundreds of stories, and then thousands of stories, and then tens of thousands of stories, and hundreds of thousands of stories as we move forward of how this is changing the marketplace and enhancing not just the veterans business, because all those who are working with a veteran are going to be enhanced. Once again, it's the quality of work. It's the fact that they understand what it means to work hard, what it means to show up on time, what it means to follow through on a promise. And that is, you see that across the board. Not that every veteran is fallible. I'm not going to say that. Of course not. We're all people. But across the board, as a group of people, I'm gonna side with the veteran. I mean, I would rather be on the veteran side than non-veteran side. And and I actually, this has been a great thing for me too. I moved down from Minnesota 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, to Dallas, to Texas. I wanted to be a Texan for a very long time. We finally pulled the trigger on that. And now that I'm back in that veteran community, because I was raised in the veteran community, got married, had kids, got busy. I'm not following my dad around like I was when I'm 6 years old and 16 years old, and I've got life going on. And now that I've been back in that veteran community, I'm sort of going, man, I miss this group. They're solid. They love what I love. They love this country. They want to see this country be a bright, shining star in the world. They love the flag. They love the Pledge of Allegiance. They love what I love about this country. I know we live in the greatest country in the world. I've had the benefit of traveling all over the world, and people talk about first world, and Europe is not first world compared to America. America is its own first world. America is a set apart country. There are people still dying today to get here from all over the world that want to get here. My wife and I work in the adoption community. 3 of our daughters are adopted from China. And so I have exposure on that and exposure with the adoption community. And what people are willing to do to get to this country is absolutely incredible. I say it this way, people are dying to get here still today. And I love, we have some issues in America with immigration and things like that. But I do work in the immigration community in Dallas now. And hearing stories of somebody who was born in a different country that came here lawfully, followed the right procedures, and I've always wanted to be an American. He was, he's 24 now. He was at 7 years old. I wanted to become an American, and at 17, when he goes, I got on my hands and knees and kissed the ground when we landed here in America. He goes, I wanted to be an American so bad. That's what we're missing so often, and the media doesn't portray it that way. We don't see that positive aspect. We see it in the veteran community. We see it in certain groups. And that's what I'm glad to be a part of again here is being surrounded by those people who love what I love. It's just an uplifting experience.
Yeah, that's, the first thing people do is when they need a solution to a problem is they ask their inner circle, do you know anyone? And, do you have anybody that's helped you do this? And so your platform is bringing all the veteran business owners together, and if they're talking to a veteran, they can simply say, you can find that person on this website, and that's a great service that you're offering there.
Thank you.
So what would be you have this veteran business owner, and he's being reluctant, maybe if not he doesn't want to be, I don't want to use the word found, but he's trying to get exposure. But what would you say would be the best piece of advice that you'd give them?
I guess I'm hearing the question this way is how do we overcome the veteran saying, I didn't do it for this reason. I think the big picture ultimately for veterans is this. You're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your fellow veteran, because your fellow veteran is going to need a home loan, right? It happens every single day. And they would a veteran would rather work with a veteran. And your heart as the mortgage guy or the mortgage gal who served. You got a good heart. You want to take care of this veteran. You guys had that commonality, and you're going to go out of your way to make it a great experience for that veteran. The world doesn't think that way, right? And so if this veteran looking for the home loan doesn't come to you, they're going to go to somebody else. And we don't know the job they're going to do. We know this country's lacking in morals, right? And they may end up with a shyster. And so don't do it for you. Do it because you're going to do a good job for others. And you take pride in doing a great job for others, too, including veterans. Do it for that reason.
Perfect. So to the veteran listeners, how is the best way for them to find out more about your platform and to get involved?
Yeah, easy. They can go to the VetsList.com, and they can fill out a profile. And we're very excited that we have the opportunity. We're going to always have a free site for veterans. Now, there's pay sites if somebody wants to upgrade and get more bandwidth. No matter what, this is ultimately a business, and so we're being charged monthly fees and website storage, and there's all this. I didn't know any of this stuff. I thought you turned on a website and you're good to go.
Right.
I was wrong. So, but our heart's desire is to always have. We're always going to have that free site. But if there's a realtor and they're wanting to list homes and stuff like that, we're just asking them to help out a little bit on a monthly basis. But the great option is they can choose which one they want and they don't want. So if they want the basic site, then please, that one's free, and there's a lot of bells and whistles with that one. There's you can put a lot of information on, and then it goes to advanced, and then it goes to elite, and so the one thing I would say though is be really thorough on this. If you do this right and spend 15 or 20 minutes the first time, you're not going to have to worry about it unless you want to add certain things in the future. This is an online site. People do business with people, not with businesses, right? That's why we highlight the veteran and not the business. I'm Tracy, and that's me, and I served in the Navy, and I did this and this and this, and this is my business. And I have kids, and I volunteer in the community. That's what people want to see on that profile. They want to see a photo of you. They want to know about you personally. And by the way, this is my business. They're much more likely to do business with you if they like you as a person. And you can create in that little profile a lot of connection, love, if you will. And so go to the website, fill out a site, and do a really good job filling out the site. And you're going to attract people that way.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you for being on the show, and congratulations on your accomplishment. It's very relieves a significant problem in the marketplace for veterans. So thank you very much.
I appreciate it, and thank you again for your time.
You are welcome. So there you have it for this edition of the show. We'll see you the next time.
Thanks for listening to The Authority Syndicate with T. Allen Haynes, the show for positioning yourself as the #1 authority in your industry, quickly turning your prospects into clients and raving fans. We'll see you next time on The Authority Syndicate. Thanks for listening to the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show with T. Allen Haynes. Conversations with elite business leaders from around the world. We will see you next time on the T. Allen Haynes Radio Show.